All right, everybody, welcome back for another deep dive. Today, we're heading to a place that I bet most of you have never even heard of.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I hadn't either before I read this essay about
Okay.
the Calamian deer.
Cool.
So we're talking the Philippines,
Mhm.
a specific little group of islands there, and get this, an animal that's found
Oh, wow.
nowhere else on Earth.
Okay.
But it's not just some random, oh, cool animal fact.
Yeah.
This essay got me thinking about so much more
Right. What?
conservation, what it means for an ecosystem to be fragile, especially on islands,
Yeah.
and how we as humans just,
Mess things up.
we have
Yeah.
such a big impact even when we don't realize it.
Absolutely.
But get ready, because I learned a lot prepping for this one, and
That's
I think you will too.
awesome.
So first of all, what exactly is a Calamian deer?
Okay, so picture this.
Okay.
It's this compact little deer, kind of short legs, brownish gray coat,
Like a Bamlin.
like basic ones, not huge and showy.
Not like those elk you see pictures of.
Yeah, and all of that, like the size, the legs, the antlers, it's all because of where they live.
Oh, it is?
These islands, called the Calamian Islands, part of the Philippines.
Oh, okay.
And they're actually sometimes called the Calamian hog deer, too.
Dog deer.
Yeah, it's a local name.
Huh. Interesting. I didn't come across that in the essay.
Yeah, it's not as common in scientific literature, but the locals use it.
Okay, cool. So this compact little deer, perfectly suited for...
It's forests.
Makes sense with those short legs.
Exactly. Got to be able to move through all that undergrowth.
Now, the essay really stressed how important this deer is to its ecosystem. And they use this term,
Oh, yeah, trophic cascade.
trophic cascade. Can you break that down for us?
So basically, every living thing in an ecosystem is connected,
Right.
like a big web. Right.
Yeah.
And if you remove one species...
Like our little deer friend.
Yeah, exactly. It can set off this chain reaction. That's the cascade part.
So it's not just about that one animal disappearing.
No way, it impacts everything.
Wow. And the Calamian deer is what, an herbivore?
Yep, mostly plants.
So imagine, they eat plants, they spread seeds around, they keep certain plants from growing too much,
All of that.
and then they become food for other animals too.
Right, so if the deer vanish, those plants might go crazy, or a predator might not have enough to eat.
So it's like a domino effect.
Yeah, and on an island,
Uh-oh.
those effects can be even more intense.
Because everything's so contained?
Exactly. Less room to adapt, fewer alternative resources. The whole thing's more delicate.
And that brings us to the not-so-fun part.
The threats.
Sadly, the Calamian deer is endangered,
It is.
and it's facing a whole bunch of threats.
Yeah, habitat loss is a big one.
People clearing forests,
For farming, logging,
all of that,
and then there's hunting.
both for food, for sport,
Plus, you've got invasive species being introduced.
competing for resources.
Domesticated animals.
Yep, they're not native to the islands, and they can disrupt the balance. So we've got habitat loss, hunting, invasive species. It sounds pretty dire.
It is a challenge for sure.
And the essay pointed out that being stuck on those islands,
Yeah,
it really limits the deer's options.
exactly. They can't just up and move,
They're trapped.
more or less, which makes them even more vulnerable.
But there has to be some good news, right?
Yeah.
There are people working to help these deer.
Oh, absolutely. There's a lot of effort going into conservation.
Like what?
Well, for one thing, the Philippine government has stepped up, and they've got help from different conservation groups. And they've set up these protected areas.
Like wildlife sanctuaries?
Exactly, giving the deer safe havens.
The essay mentioned the Calwood Game Preserve and Wildlife Sanctuary.
Yes, that's a big one.
What's that like?
It's interesting, it wasn't originally just for the Calamian deer.
Oh,
They brought in other endangered animals from other parts of the Philippines.
sort of like a Noah's Ark?
Kind of.
Yeah.
But it's become a crucial spot for the deer, too.
So we've got protected areas. Are there other things being done?
A lot, actually. They've got these captive breeding programs.
Trying to increase the population?
Exactly. And researchers are out there studying them, learning about their behavior, their needs.
All to help figure out the best ways to protect them.
Exactly. It's a multi-pronged approach.
And it's not just about the science and the data.
Right. The essay really emphasized that.
Working with the local communities.
That's so important.
Because...
The Calamian deer is part of their culture.
So it's not just an animal to them.
No way, it has meaning.
So getting people to understand and care,
That's key to making any conservation effort last.
it makes sense. You can't just come in and tell people what to do.
It won't work.
You got to work with them.
Absolutely.
So it sounds like there's hope for the Calamian deer,
Yes, definitely.
but it's a reminder that we can't take these things for granted.
We can't.
Every creature, every plant,
It all plays a part.
in what we do.
Even way over here on the other side of the world.
It can have an impact.
Even on a little group of islands in the Philippines.
So think about that, you know? We dove deep into this one animal story.
The Calamian deer.
But it's really about so much more.
The interconnectedness of everything.
How fragile ecosystems can be.
The power of human action.
And hopefully the power of human action to fix things too.
It's not too late.
So until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and let's keep protecting our planet.
One deep dive at a time.
That's it for us. We hope you enjoyed it.
See you next time.
Bye, everyone.